This is Johann Philip Vos, as neither one of us knew him in the past. And this is the same Johann Philip Vos, but as Flip, as we used to call him. A good pilot, DC-10 captain, a man with terrible perseverance, who knocked himself through everything, but also a very funny person with whom you can laugh a lot. In the past I did not have too much friendship with Flip like with other ALM pilots, other than seeing him at ALM cockpit and cabin crew parties. And another great occasion when I had the honor to film Flip's wedding with a nice and charming ex-cabin attendant, Daniela.
Heb je dat mooie foutje gemerkt gezien?
Ja, zeker.
18 years later, I start having some real friendship with Flip due a very nice reason I like to share with you. As a member of a historical KLM Internet forum, I was contributing giving informations about ALM pilots who in the past flew KLM DC-10 and MD-11. And on the day, mid-September 2010, I received an email from a lady asking me if maybe I knew an ALM captain named Flip Vos, due to the fact his son is searching since a long time after his father without results, so they hope I can help them find Captain Flip Vos. Of course I knew Flip, I wrote back. And with the collaboration of friend Billy Hoffman, I got the exact location at Curacao where we could contact Flip. To make a long story short, Flip Vos and his son Ronnie started to email and Skype each other, and 2 months later in November 2010 came the very emotional encounter. After more than 30 years without any contact with each other. Unfortunately, Flip's physical condition was very fragile, but he was extremely happy and glad to meet his son Ronnie, Ronnie's wife and daughter. After Flip's son and family returned back to Holland, I was honored at their home in Hoofddorp for the humble role I play regarding the reuniting of father and son. March 2011, Flip had to be hospitalized in Curacao, and at the end of the year it was even necessary to transport him to the Netherlands for better specialized treatments. After several months, several ex-ALM colleagues went to visit him and found him in even better shape and mood than what they saw in Curacao. Like I mentioned in the beginning, Captain Flip Vos was a very joyful person, most of the time making jokes. Our friend Ken Coates, who's now a 747 and MD-11 captain in Saudi Arabia, told me some funny story about Flip. The friendship between Captain Flip Vos and Ken Coates goes back even before becoming ALM colleagues. So Ken knew how much fun Flip would be even before they were on a New Year's Day 1978. They were doing the Miami Curacao run on one fine afternoon. Flip in the left seat, Ken Coates as first officer in the right seat. Climbing through about 20,000 feet, they got a sort of fire warning on engine number 2. Turns out it was a failed fire detector loop problem, which is potentially a fire condition or possibly a faulty loop. After performing the required checks, they determined that it was a fire condition, and appropriately, of course, they shut down the engine. Naturally, this meant they had to return back to Miami, and Ken could clearly see the smile on Flip's face as he realized they were about to have a night stop with an absolutely stellar cabin crew. I will keep the name secret just to protect the guilty. Anyway, after an uneventful landing, they proceed to the Miami Airport Hotel and found themselves in the captain's quarters. The whole crew, of course, in fine form, ordering a little of this and a little of that, each crew member taking some of the load on his or her room account. Honestly, everybody laughed, danced, talked, ate and drank for hours. Ken told me later he doesn't really remember when that thing ended, but eventually he recalled being back in Curacao. A few weeks later, an unamused ALM accounting department started dispersing bills to each of them for expenses beyond the call of duty. Finally, Captain Ken Coates ended with the words, "Rest in peace, Flip. You caused many smiles." During one of the first months of this year 2012, for one or other reason, Flip had to be flew back to Curacao, where he was interned in a so-called hospice at Piscadera, just behind Bailey Hoffman's residence, where after only a few months he came to an eternal rest.